if we think what Buddhist people were feeling during this time, then that's not so easy to explain and to understand. Because the Buddhist tradition, the Tibetan Buddhist tradition, is closely connected with learning. And when the learning centers are destroyed, it's very difficult to uphold the tradition. And during the Soviet time, not only all lamas were arrested, or almost all were arrested, it was forbidden to teach Dharma. And I remember in 1981, when I was traveling in Buryatia as a research worker on the Museum of History of Religions, and I had some access to the secret information, I was explained that there are about 100 former lamas, and 2 or 3 of them are still making rituals for the local people and are closely observed by KGB and so like that. But the local people, they all identified themselves as Buddhists, but they didn't know much about Buddhism. They had just these memories. For example, when I was working in this museum, in the 70s, end of 70s, I had a group, because we were going with excursions around the museum, group of Kalmyks who said, "We are Buddhists from Kalmykia, please show us the Buddhist exhibition," which was closed. I was very much excited, because I thought, what a simple person could explain to the Buddhist people about Buddhism. But when we started, I understood that they didn't know anything about Buddhism, not about the life of Buddha. They just had this feeling that we are Buddhists, but they didn't know what it means. And the same at other times. When the Dalai Lama came to Russia for the first time, to Kalmykia, 1992, yes, or 91, 91, and he's not the Dalai Lama, it was Bakula Rinpoche. This was 1989, I think, when Kushok Bakula Rinpoche, the first Lama who visited Kalmykia after 70 years. So he was interviewed by the local television. And the interviewer, before starting the interview, she asked me, "Please teach me how to make prostration, how to fold hands." They didn't know how, but they remembered that it should be done. So everything was forgotten. And in Buryatia it was much better, because there were official monasteries, and the destruction was not so hard. When you visit Buryat houses, almost each house you find a little altar with Buddhist images. In Tuva was the worst, because it was very severely persecuted. Visiting the houses in Tuva, you won't see anything Buddhist. Only 2 times when I visited former lamas in Tuva in the 70s, I saw some Buddhist books in Tibetan and some painted images. The other people didn't have anything. But still they remembered we are Buddhist, and when it was possible, they tried to revive the teachings with all their force.